What's up, everybody? Let's get this oriented. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you guys for being here. Get this mic out of the way. Big day today. We've got 10 bags. I think it's 10 bags. You can actually see them right here. They're piled up right behind us. If you've never been to one of our mystery bag Mondays or watched the stream before, I buy these rag bags that a local thrift store, a couple local thrift stores actually, put together, and it's basically all the tees they didn't have space for on the rack, couldn't sell because of being explicit in nature, or were too dirty, or whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Typically, they sell these things to like mechanic shops to clean up oil spills and stuff like that. But I found out that they were doing it and decided to start buying them myself. So about a little more than a year ago, I've been buying them every week, and we found some really incredible T-shirts in them. So the whole point is to look for valuable vintage T-shirts or anything that we can sell. Sometimes we find like vintage towels that are worth money. So anything we can sell to make the money back and make some profit and have a little bit of a mystery, opening for us. If you can hear me, let me know. Audio is good. Thank you, bud. Thank you so much. You're reading my mind. So let's go ahead. We have a lot of rag bags here. So in the process of opening these rag bags, if you have questions about vintage clothing or anything, eBay, whatever, just let me know. And yeah, hey man, welcome to the stream. Yeah, 10 rag bags should be fun. Hopefully, we've got some good vintage stuff in here. The last couple weeks have been pretty poor. A couple things here and there that have kept probably us in the green, but not by much. So let's go ahead and get started with the first bag. If you have questions about vintage clothing, eBay, whatever, put them in the chat. I'd love to answer them as we're in the process of opening these bags. So let's get right into it. First bag. Let's see what we have. Fearless. I don't know what this. Some like Jesus tea. Yeah, not vintage, but we got the the ski trip, 2008 ski trip. Someone ripping off the North Face there. I don't know if those are like if there's a market for brand rip off tees, but we've got something that's a little bit older. I'm not sure how much older, but it's Wisconsin Badgers, double stitch, probably early 2000s, probably Y2K. Not that big a deal, man. I'm gonna unzip this thing. My old work, I used to work at a boys ranch, Whetstone Boys Ranch, and they gave us Filson jackets for 1 year as a Christmas gift. So we got some big fans of Wisconsin Badgers. I'll probably put some of that aside. Looks like some Y2K sports stuff, so we'll see if there's anything particularly interesting. What do we have here? We've got like a 2000 Y2K Gildan. What if everyone drove like you? Highway Safety Division. Quick click buckle challenge champion. That's kind of funny. There's like a competition to see who could get buckled the fastest. That's pretty funny. Oh, look at this. This is kind of cool. Yes. Oh, yeah, it's true. Meet me in Tahiti sweepstakes, the Tropicana island of Las Vegas. Vintage on a solar tee, single stitch. So we got a vintage t-shirt, single stitch right off the bat here. So it's pretty dirty, but we'll take it. Vintage tees are a good sign. One typically is a signal of another. So hopefully we'll dig around in here and find a few more. Nope, not vintage. But let me know, guys, while we're hanging out here. Brag on yourself. Let me know what you found this week in the thrift. Let everybody else know. Brag a little bit. Did you find a banger? Did you find something dope? We got another one of those quick click buckle challenge, like 2005 probably. Yeah, brag on yourself. I mean, I've already bragged on myself. I did a whole video. If you haven't seen it, it was a video yesterday did our top 5 thrift finds of last week. There was some cool stuff in there. Some pretty weird stuff too. So that's always fun when you find odd, unusual things. We got a Nike Team Cardinals tee. It's really dirty. I don't think it's all that old. We won't hold on to it. But if you're into thrifting, if you're into vintage, let me know what you picked up this week. That'd be let everybody else know. Love hearing what you guys are finding out there. Sometimes you guys like kill it, and it's so cool to hear. We've got this is like a lawyer tee. No, it's a glass company, AAA glass company. That was a lawyer. We got Cosmel. We got somebody who went on a cruise, stopped in Cosmel, and bought a T-shirt. Probably never wore it. I wore it once. Oh, we got a vintage. Oh, sick. Check it out, guys. The March for Peace, Undo the Racism, Bring on the Wellness. That's sick. It's a March for Peace, 1998. It's technically single stitch, but it's actually a pretty unusual stitch on the Fruit of the Loom Loft tees. 1998. This is pretty cool. Guys, check this out. I like it. Pretty sick. Front and back. Pretty dirty, but still pretty cool. Hey. Sabina, do you notice anything about your name in the chat? We got a 2014 Kansas City Chiefs. Not Chiefs. I'm kind of still sad about the Chiefs. We got the Royals. Yeah, dude, I saw that. That hat. That hat is super cool. We got some vintage like 70s JCPenney shirts. Pretty dirty, but well, it's got like paint on it. I'll say I might hold on to it. It's vintage, so that's the whole name of the game here. Oh, sick. Ron Rivera's Chicago Bears. That's sweet, super. Oh yeah. Click all the buttons. I don't even know really what powers you have, to be honest. Oh, sick. 1984 Utah trucker hat. Never worn for $1. Don't you love that stuff? That's oh man, I love when you find $1 items, and because you could flip it for $2 and you made 100% profit. Now, I mean, there's obviously expenses that go into it, but still, I love finding that stuff. Beach bums, nothing. All right, this first bag ain't too bad. We got, what's this? Some tea. It's new school, but I'm gonna put it to the side because I don't know what the graphic is. I don't know if it's something. We got a NASA tee, modern NASA tee. Let's find some old NASA tees. I think I actually have a bunch of old 80s NASA hats that I bought and never listed. I need to pull those out. Last tee, first box. It's just it's just like an American classic, like hot rod tee. Nothing too old. So awesome. All right. Let's go. I think we're gonna go with this guy right here. Ooh, kind of heavy. Heavier than normal. I think Sabina, you can and it's no obligation to be that. Okay, it's a Billie Eilish tee. This one right here shows how much I pay attention to modern pop music. But good to know. It's got a little mark on it. I don't know if it's looks like bleach, unfortunately. All right. Maybe I'll just hold on to the Billie Eilish tees for 20 years, wait for them to become vintage, and then make a killing, right? Am I right? What we got here? Oh, this is cute. Vintage on the best Fruit of the Loom. It's a double XL. Look at that. That's cool. Wildflowers. Old something mill. Someone's paint shirt, but still pretty cool. Vintage. Maybe not, probably not super valuable. Probably not. Oh, more. We got more like a souvenir. Another double XL. This is super sick. Some old dot mill. 1993. That's a pretty sweet graphic. Maybe we'll find a bunch more stuff from 1993. Maybe like a Nirvana tee. We got a blank red bar anvil from like the mid 90s, I think. Let me catch up. Oh, interesting. REI backpack. That's interesting. Oh, this is sweet. This is a pretty dope tie dye. Pretty well done. I like that. I'm gonna hold on to that. It's not vintage, I don't think. No, not vintage, but I do sell tie dyes randomly. Uh, I don't. I buy shoes pretty often. I don't. What's this? Hold on. I don't buy lots of shoes. And I don't feel like I'm like an expert in shoes, but I know like what I can buy to flip. Vintage shoes market, like there's not a lot of that out here. I do pick up vintage boots quite often. Do pretty well with that. But around here, there's not like a bunch of like Nike heads that I could potentially pick up their old shoe collection. Oh, this is a pretty ratty Harley, like crop. It's like cropped and then like cut down the middle. They were trying to show everything. Um, yeah, I don't pick up lots and lots of shoes, but I try to pick them up pretty regularly. And they're to me they're it's more like a if I know the value of it, I know I can flip it and turn it into some money. So um, that's a little bit more methodical for me rather than interesting, unfortunately. Yeah, old whites boots. One of my so my first at well, yeah, it would have been the first time my first biggest. I'm trying to think. Is I sold that Chanel thing for like 200, and then I picked up these boots. What's this? Some old. No, it's not that old. I picked up some old. I picked up these boots and sold them for $250. It was like the first time I'd ever like sold a pair of shoes for over $50. And they were the Old Gringo. So if you're out there and you find the Old Gringo, their t-shirts, their boots do very, very well. Ooh, yeah, Goldberg, who's next? Yes, I've had a couple of those in the past. Those are great. Yeah, those do well. I think I have. No, I don't know if I have a Goldberg tee, but I don't think it's currently. I don't think it's at Who's Next though. Um, all right, come on. We started out with 2 vintage tees, but we haven't really had much since then. So maybe they're in the other bags. We have a vintage I Love New York tee. No, or maybe not vintage. Well, it's on a Sun USA. This is probably somewhat older, but not that old enough to really be interesting or important. Nothing. 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 Yeah, Sandra, I do have a video on how to identify vintage tees. Um, I think it's entitled "How to Identify Vintage Tees," um, and it's fairly easy, generally speaking, with the single stitch versus double stitch, and I can talk you through it real quick here. Um, most modern T-shirts and most T-shirts that were produced after about 1996 or so have 2 stitches in their like hem right here and down here at the bottom of the shirt. So that typically means that it was made after 1996. And if it has a single stitch like this guy, just has 1 stitch along here, that means generally means it's from before 1996, therefore vintage. So that can be helpful. Now you have to be careful because I actually just saw one. So check this out. So this is an Aeropostale t-shirt, and right here is 1 single stitch. Aeropostale and some of those like modern companies have used the single stitch on their t-shirts like every once in a while. It's pretty obvious that they're not vintage once you actually see them, but if you're just going by the stitching, you got to be careful a little bit sometimes. Oh, that's a cool Coca-Cola t-shirt, double stitch, probably not very old. It's on a It's on a Hanes Comfort tee, so it's probably like 2012. We're a little bit older. We got an Oakley tee, nothing interesting though. I do want to find some of the older vintage Oakley tees are really dope. Oh yeah, that's interesting. I have to go check that out because, I like I said, because I'm out in the middle of the country, I do get a lot of I run into lots of boots. So I mean, I've done fairly well with them, but I definitely wouldn't call myself like a boot dealer or anything like that. I just, when I see the opportunity, I try to take it. All right, last tee in the second bag. Man, it's only the second bag, guys. Whew. Third bag. We got a lot of bags here. We're gonna be here for a little while. It's okay because I like hanging out with you guys. First off, what we have? Yeah, I cruised down steep mountains at 40. Oh, that's kind of cool. It's a Breckenridge, like a. It's not that old, but wait, it is that old. It's a single stitch, like a Breckenridge skiing T-shirt. It's like really good condition. So looks like someone likes to ski. Speaking of skiing, everybody. So I've been working really hard. Like you can see, here's all my notes. I'm just working through a bunch of stuff. These are notes. I'm literally working for hours today and all weekend on trying to seriously crack um, some real specifics on Wrangler, because I know a lot of people are asking about a video for Wrangler, and so I've been working hard because I want to do more than just what you generally find on the internet, which is some real broad strokes. I want to be a little bit more specific if I can. So like I spent like maybe 10 hours over the last week, looking at examples of the I'm literally writing down every code on these old vintage tags to try to come up with some sort of like figure out the system, how they're working. I've been able to do some of that with Lee, which hopefully once I've tested it out enough, I'll make the video on how to read Lee tags. But I've been doing it for Wrangler. Whoa. And just drop the bag. Sorry, guys. I've been working on it for Wrangler. Then I text my brother. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm working hard on this Wrangler stuff. I don't have a whole lot of time, blah, 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 whatever. And and he goes, oh, hey, so a good buddy of mine, we just got back from a ski trip. He's an executive over at VF, which is the company that owns Wrangler and Lee. It's like, I'll give him a call and see if he can help you out. I'm like, seriously? It could be that easy? I don't know if it could be that easy. We'll see if it actually becomes that easy. Yeah, Fry's good. Fry's a good boot company. Sold Fry boots. They sell real easy. Another good boot company, and I only know this because I just recently sold it. Well, I know this because I've sold them for years now, but I did just recently sell one. Is Corral boots. They're typically really fancy and girly. I don't necessarily know that the quality is like great, but they're like really fancy looking, lots of sequins and designs and stuff. But those things sell fast. Oh, we got a single stitch tee here. It's like a homemade, but super dope. This is pretty cool. Tie dye. Single stitch, no tag, but it's a bigger size. That's a cool tee. Cool tee. That tee would have gotten used to clean up oil. Yeah, that video hopefully I'll have it sorted out soon enough. I want to make sure I have the right answers. It's tough because if you've ever tried to search good information on Wrangler, it's just really not out there. Like there's not a lot of good information for the Wrangler brand and how to identify vintage Wrangler out there. So I'm having to do a lot of my own sleuthing work. And I've always had like, you have an intuition about what generation things are from. So in the past, whenever I've had to deal with Wrangler, I'm like, okay, that looks like it's probably the 70s. I've seen this tag associated with the 70s before, but having to get down to like a real fundamental level where I'm like reverse engineering their system is a little bit tougher. And hopefully, I actually do think I had a pretty good breakthrough. Oh, by the way, guys, I don't know if any of you guys saw the article on Bid Stitch, but apparently these things are catching on now. This is the new Hype Beast T-shirt, so if you're out there, maybe you should pick some up. I got a Panama City Beach tee. Oh, we got something single stitch here. Looks like single stitch on the bottom. It's Fruit of the Loom's best. First Baptist Church of something. Children's Camp 1996 Ultimate Challenge. No cool graphics other than that. I mean, it's going to go in the vintage pile for now just because it's vintage. But unfortunately, that's probably not going to do me any good. If it had some other cool Jesus T graphics, it'd be dope. But it's a good sign that there are older clothes in here. Somewhere in these bags. Man, they've been... I think I've said this before, but the thrift store that makes these bags, I'm pretty sure they don't even put out... Like, they put out a new set of T-shirts on their racks maybe twice a month. At this point, it's like twice a month. Otherwise, I'm buying all of them from these rag bags. They're putting them all in rag bags. So, like, it's kind of crazy that I'm buying like almost the entire donated inventory of T-shirts from a thrift store. I should probably go talk to them and just make like an arrangement and say, hey, you guys aren't selling T-shirts very often. I'll just buy all your T-shirts instead of you guys having to process and put them out. All right, bag number 3 down. Bag number 4 coming up. Bag number 4. We have found in the past some real, pretty valuable T-shirts. We found some vintage PlayStation 2 promo tees. I like some games, like it was a Shinobi. We found some vintage Rugrats movie promo tees from the late 90s, early 2000s. And we found some great band tees, wrestling tees, all kinds of stuff. So hopefully one of these bags has at least one of those types of tees in it. What's this? No, Stephen Barry's. Warning, nothing. We got some actual rags, some actual hand towels. Let's see. So who here sells on... Oh, let's see. Let me answer this question first. Do I ever use the... I don't... Well, okay. I don't regularly do that. I don't regularly do that because I've used the RN formula before, and it gives you a rough estimate, and like generally I can find enough on a garment to give me a rough estimate that's just about as accurate typically. Now, of course, if I need to, I use it, but I have to go, since I don't use it very often, I have to go and like research what it, like how to actually do the formula. So it is helpful if that's all you really have. But I generally find that in most cases, I've got enough information about. This is kind of cool tee, but it's not. It's just a high school football tee. I've got enough information about the garment to get me a pretty similar rough estimate. So, but still, we got a single stitch main tourist tee on some random watercolor. No, yeah, watercolors made in the USA. Tourist tees. I love tourist tees. All right. Hi, I found a pair of USA beige Levi's 501s with black paper bat wing under the left pocket. But the code is it's a black, so it's a black bat wing label on It's most likely the code. So here's what it probably is. Is there actually a dash between the 532 and 071, or is it just empty? Because the 532 should probably also be able to be found on the back of the button. So check your back of the button closure, the top button typically, and if it says 532, that is the factory code, um, denoting where it was made. And then it's likely that the 071 is the date code, which would be 1991. Around 1993 or so, um, Levi's changed that uh, tag style and changed the date codes with 4-digit instead of 3-digit code. So yes. So the 532 is the factory code, letting you know that it's an American made 501. 07 is July, July of 1991. So cool. That's a great pair. It's a great pair. One of probably the earliest ones that they put in beige color. They didn't do that very often. Just got an offer for $38 for a 1997 USA 501 Sacred Pass. I paid 9. I think for a 97, that's a pretty fair price. Kelsey, uh, I think, could you get more? Yeah, you probably could wait to find somebody eventually, but $38, if you paid $9 with fees, you're gonna make like $25 or so. So I think, are you doing free shipping? If you're doing free shipping, maybe you rethink that. But if you're not doing free shipping, they're going to pay for shipping. Then I think $38. I would accept the $38. Um, I mean, I sell 501s in that range, or from that era, right around the same range. So no free shipping. That's good. Yeah, there's no. Unfortunately, with the way that the prices go, with the price hikes in USPS, um, it's almost impossible to offer free shipping anymore, unfortunately. Um, so which is sad because it's ridiculous how expensive it's getting to ship. And I mean, I know that like they've got to come up with they've got to actually be able to pay for the business that they run. But at some point, we've got to come up with a cheaper way to do this. We got to let some people compete. So anyway, all right, that's bag number 4. Wasn't much in that bag. We have 6 more bags. One of them's kind of small, so let's go ahead and get that one out of the way. This one I actually only paid $4 for. Yeah, they're my jam too. Like, I mean, I have like just boxes and boxes. Whoa, boxes and boxes of them these days. I use them every day. Every day, all sorts of stuff. I am thinking about getting into because you can technically save some money. I just haven't. The flexibility of having just sort of one standard uh, flat rate shipping is nice, but I have thought about getting into using the not padded flat rate envelopes for jeans, since the jeans don't really need the padding. It would be a little bit cheaper, which would drive perhaps give me an advantage on sales, on getting business. But I haven't really thought about it. It's only like a 60-cent difference. Not very much. Not very much. Maybe 75 cents. Upswell for combined shipping to lower shipping for customers. Yeah, totally. I combine shipping whenever I possibly can. Upsell, yeah. Um, if you can, like, I think I combined shipping for like 3 people in the last 24 hours or so. Um, Definitely the way to go. I do sell to a lot of like international dealers. Check this out, guys. Hey, check this out. Check out, we got that vintage Nike single stitch. It's got the Nike tag. You see that? Nike tag, but flip and dip, and it's just on a anvil tag. Totally bootleg. The tag might be legitimate, but it's definitely a bootleg T-shirt. But it is kind of cool. Air Nike, center check, swoosh, single stitch, some holes. But I do have kind of a growing. I have a kind of a growing bootleg, like specifically Nike bootleg collection. Um, Unfortunately, I don't sell the bootleg and fake stuff on eBay. Um, you really can't. You run the risk of jeopardizing your store. But I do sell it. I do sell the bootleg stuff whenever, like, somebody comes into my wants to go, like, personally go through my inventory and find something they like. I'll sell it to them then, but not really a huge market for just normal old bootlegs. Yeah, that man, I'll tell you what, Tommy has some really cool bootlegs. Sometimes they're really bad. A lot of times they're really bad, but there's some that are like, man, this would have been banging if it actually was legit. I've watched the video too. Yeah. Yeah, so I have shipped some crazy stuff. I sent an entire vintage, I think it was 70s Pointer brand denim coveralls last Friday in a padded flat rate, and that was a bear to get closed. Hey man, just went to the thrift, got 5 pairs of 90. Yeah, man, dude, 90s 501s. Like, the 90s 501s are solid. People still want them. They're good jeans, made in the USA. They're good. I've noticed, and especially in the last, like, maybe 2 or 3 months, especially, people coming back to the 90s 501 sort of as a good deal, as the 80s stuff gets way too expensive. So yeah, 90s 501s are solid. No, I don't necessarily know that they are bootleg. You'd have to kind of look at You have to look at the tags. A lot of times NWO had their own tags, not all the time, but sometimes. Um, and sometimes they didn't include New World Order underneath the logo. So that's not that crazy. Um, Sometimes they're just variations. Um, Here's the thing about bootlegs: do your best to determine whether or not something's a bootleg or fake or not. And if you can't, and you're not certain that it is a bootleg, sell it as legit. Like, if it's really questionable, don't. But, like, if you've tried to do all the stuff that you can to avoid selling a bootleg, don't be afraid to sell it. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things that people think are bootleg or fake, but really aren't. It happens all the time in Levi's. Every weird Levi's or Lee or Wrangler piece that comes by, everyone's like, that's fake. When in reality, it's like, it's not fake. It's there's a lot of different variations for all the decades. So do your best to determine whether or not it's fake or not. And if you know there's not any of some of the more normal signs, just go for it. Sell it. All right, let's get into the next bag. Come on. I got to make up like nearly $60 here. Pop-ups. Yeah, I have done a pop-up, but not like in a big spot, like not in a big city or nothing. We did a local pop-up here in a town. We did pretty well. We still have some young hip people that want to wear vintage clothes. I had an older guy come in and buy a bunch of stuff to wear because he like some fancier stuff that I had. He spent like $100 just to wear it because he forgot his dress clothes and he was going to go to a play or something. I don't know. It was weird, but yeah, pop-ups are fun. I wish I was more. I would have to travel, a few hours to do it, and I would have to carry lots of inventory. And so far, like, the biggest town nearby is Springfield, Missouri. It's about 2 hours away. They have a decent vintage market, but there's a crew in that town that pretty much kills all the vintage, and they run the whole town, in my opinion. Oh, we have something else vintage here. Heck yeah! Single stitch. I love these things. Protect the Dolphins. Check that out. San Diego, California. That's sick. It's a sick piece. It's got some dirt, got some grime, as most of these t-shirts do. Got a few holes, but sick. Oh, sick. Yeah, man. Like, at some point, I probably will go to a bigger pop-up or something, like in Memphis or something, or St. Louis. I would just have to I just have to organize it. And right now, just been so busy with all other stuff. Like, I just have to get my head around it, pull all the inventory, and then since everything I have in inventory is online, I have to then take it all down. So it can be sort of a hassle to make sure that they take all the stuff down that I took to the pop up. But um, one of these days we'll go and make a big splash with some of the pieces, some of the pieces I got in the stash. Hey Tom, welcome, dude. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live stream. If you don't know what we're doing here, I'm looking through these bags that I buy from a local thrift store. They basically put like mostly t-shirts, but sometimes actual rags and like towels. But they basically put all their t-shirt inventory in it. I buy it up, and we go through it live and find out what in the world, what valuable vintage tees might be in here. We will do a sort of a recap towards the end of some of the stuff we found. So far, it's been okay. A couple cool things. Nothing huge. No super bangers to write home about. But oh, this is cool. I just wish it was actually vintage. This is not. It's just got the Simpsons printed on here. It's a cool tee. I want to hold on to it. Yeah, somebody went and went to the Hot Topic nearby, a couple hours away. Yeah, so champion stuff I definitely want to get down on. I'm not it's weird. I don't find it a lot out here. And not that it can't be found. I just don't. I mean, not that I haven't found it, just not very often. So my experience with champion is like a little bit hit or miss, and like the deep stuff, like the deep reverse weave stuff. That's the stuff that really slaps. And so I've actually never thrifted any. I've had some I've had some 70s champion and some 80s champion. I had some recently, some 80s Marine Corps, United States Marine Corps reverse weave champion stuff. And that did pretty well, but it wasn't super old. But there's some deep history there. I just have to get my head around it and actually be able to give some more authoritative perspective, not just sort of intuition. Yeah, so Tom, unfortunately, Levi's basically I don't even know really when they started it, but I think it's definitely in the last 10 years. They've started putting Big E on stuff they sell at PacSun to sort of denote their premium denim. So there's a lot of random new Levi's with Big E on them, unfortunately. So it's sort of a real pain in the butt because a lot of people feel like they got. I mean, I've done it myself. I thought I've got something really dope, and then it turns out it's just one of the modern pairs that they're putting Big E back on. Yeah, the US. Yeah, I saw. I can't remember what I sold it for. It was last month. It was maybe $100 or something because it was all. It was like down to almost a crop top, so it wasn't much. Yeah, John and OxyClean. Those are my two favorites. Sometimes with old stuff, like old vintage tees, you're just not gonna get the stain out. You might make the stain a little bit less noticeable, just because some of this stuff has sat there for 20 years. All right, we have 4 more bags. Let's get into it. I still got more to go. Some nights we only have 4 bags to begin with, so this is quite the treat for me. We've had a lot of bags recently, lots and lots of bags. Come on, I want a big ticket. I want something. I want some burnt cheese, as my friend likes to say. What's this? Bugs, bu- I don't know, bonehead. What in the heck? So not vintage, but it's interesting. Don't know what they're going on there. Um. Oh, really? Interesting. Oh yeah, I have seen. I mean, the reverse weave stuff. Mine may not have actually been reverse weave. I gotta remember if it was or not. But I sold it for like $100. It was pretty shredded. Um, I should have probably taken a few more days with it just to try to get my head around it, um, and figure and try to inventory some of the details and build sort of an index or a library to to build on, which is kind of what I'm doing with some other brands. But made in Thailand rock tees, those are definitely I mean, those are definitely repros. I'd say um, most T-shirts, most at least valuable rock tees. Oh, that's interesting. Dark Seas, Mexico, made in Mexico. I don't know what that is. Interesting. Um, yeah, the Thailand stuff. You just have to be careful. A lot of fakes and repros coming out of Thailand. A lot of bootlegs. Are all the are all always are all okay? That's a good question. Are all Levi's made in Canada vintage? Um, so I can't say for absolute positively certain that that at this point every Levi's pair from Canada is vintage. But the textile industry moved out of Canada and US roughly at the same time. Um, so in the last the like 95 to 2005, it all sort of left. It sort of breathed this last dying breath, and that was it. So probably the majority of Levi's found to be made from Canada are going to be vintage. Just kind of like how most of the jeans made in USA are going to be considered vintage. And that's not all of them because again, Levi's has started has gone back and made some of their more recent jeans in America, LVC stuff like that. So as a general rule, if you find we got a little Disney store tee, pretty small. Um, as a general rule, I would assume that if they were made in Canada, they were probably vintage, but that's not necessarily lock seal guaranteed. I'd need to see some other factors and elements to really confirm it. Mid 90s Harley T, Siberia, Russia, T-shirt, Siberia. Ooh, single stitch, red, great condition. Um, that's a interesting. It depends on the design. First of all, mid 90s is not like super desirable. All the most desirable Harley tees will be from like the late 80s. On the early 3D emblem tags, but a mid 90s this Russia, Siberia. Those are ones. Some of those odd ones do pretty good. So I mean, if I was just spitball a price, not knowing what the design was, I'd probably say $50 to $75 would be a pretty average sale price, depending on the actual T-shirt itself. You might get less, you might get more, depending. But I think that's probably roughly around same time. Picked up an early '90s jerseys, grid pattern tag embroidered with Chiefs sweater. so Uh, so funny. I mean, obviously our Chiefs lost, my man, Nathan. But like it was funny because I sold a bunch of not a bunch, but a handful of Chiefs items like a couple days before the game, and so as soon as I noticed the Chiefs were, I sold them like on Friday night, and typically I don't ship until Monday morning, and so as soon as I saw that the game was like iffy, I went ahead right away and paid for the shipping, packaged them up, and said, marked them as shipped. So I didn't get anybody trying to cancel on me. So they did not cancel, and it got shipped to them. So they'll have to live with it. And maybe wait till next year. How about Levi's made in UK and Australia? Levi's made in UK and Australia are a little bit different. What's this? Hold on, everybody. Hey, oh, not that crazy. 2008. I thought it was gonna be bigger than that. Auto Club. It's not vintage, but it's NASCAR or not NASCAR. It's something else. One of the other smaller ones. Oh no, it's NASCAR. I'm sorry, it's NASCAR. So it's a Chase. We got a Chase T 3XL. Super dirty. Probably not gonna keep it. I don't think that's gonna do anything but sit forever. Let me get back to the Levi's made in UK and Australia. Levi's made in UK, Australia. I've noticed it's probably true that they are awesome. Most of them are going to probably be vintage, though I have noticed that there are some. There's more examples, I think, of European Levi's being made in one of those countries a bit later on than UK and Canada. So it wouldn't be an easy rule to enforce or a general idea to enforce. So, yeah, probably not a good rule to expect everything from UK and would you say Australia to be made or to be technically vintage. So I've had great luck with uniforms. Sold a U.S. Post Office sweater recently and had it. Oh yeah, yeah. Uniforms do good. Like if you can pick up and you can, especially like, I mean, I actually been doing a lot with military. Um, I'm not been able to. I need to. I'm still just learning some of the ins and outs of the military gear. But I think my average military item sale is like $80 right now. Like of the last like 5 items that I've sold that are military, they're all like World War II, Korea, Vietnam War era stuff. It's all sold for like $80 or more. In some cases, I think $200 was the biggest one most recently. Can't remember, but yes, uniforms of all kinds are really good. Hard to find vintage in my country, New Zealand, but we out here, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Tom. I feel you, man. It's tough to find like, especially like some of the hype stuff. But man, there's a lot of old clothes, old quality clothes of all kinds. So it may not be like all the hype T-shirts and stuff, but I mean it's kind of similar to me, like in my area, which is like the country middle of nowhere, in Missouri. I don't get all the hype stuff, so I have to look at other sort of elements in other areas and categories of vintage to really sort of for my business to make the business work. So look all around. 78 dated, copyright on the design, front and back, full logos written in Russian. Interesting. You might. So the copyright date obviously is a copyright. They're probably ripping it from a. It's just from an old graphic that has an older copyright. I have run into the problem with some Russian T-shirts that they are bootleg, that they're not official, but that is not 100% true. They're and sometimes how to be sure is kind of hard to be, but you'd be a little bit more suspicious when like it's not if it doesn't have like an official Harley tag, or if it's not made by like 3 Emblem or something like that. So probably I'd still say as long as it was legit, I'd still say probably between 50 and 100, $75 or so. But if you need any more help, I'll put my if you want to send me pictures, let me put this is my email. Let's get it in the chat here. My email in the chat. If you want to check, send me photos. You're welcome to. Would love to help you out. So, all right, bag number 3. Oh yeah, Hanes Beefy T. That would make sense. That's about right. Yeah, it sounds legit. Harley used Hanes Beefy pretty often. So, and if it's the Harley / Hanes Beefy T tag, you should be good. Yeah, probably $50. If it's not one of the like, if it doesn't have any other crazy graphics, it's just the logos, um, and it's in great condition, good size. Yeah, 50 or so. If it's some other wild like unusual design, you could get more probably get more. The Harley market has cooled down a bit, so it's not nearly as hot as it used to be. Oh, this is interesting. Add a girl. Interesting. On a like 2000s or early 2000s Gildan. All men were created equal. All women were created better. Add a girl. No, that's probably worth keeping. Yeah. So like when so that's a pretty common thing. What happens is like when there's two teams that go in the Super Bowl, instead of just waiting to find out who wins, um, the t-shirt companies make t-shirts for both teams winning for becoming the champion, and they just then sell whoever actually does win, and all the ones for the losers get shipped off to other countries as donations. So there's a lot of like didn't win the Super Bowl that year t-shirts floating around out there. Piano ISD physical. I don't know what that is. 2005. Finding occasional band. Yeah. So wholesale. I sell some wholesale stuff to Australia, or I have in the last couple of years. It can be kind of a pain in the butt. Obviously, shipping is outrageous. Um, I do have one buyer who, instead of shipping, looks like, well, let's 2012. We got another NASCAR T Sprint Cup Series 2012. Unfortunately, might hold on to it. Sometimes this stuff sells. Speaking of the Super Bowl champs from a couple years ago, this is when they beat the San Francisco 49ers. Right. Yeah, yeah. So, bummer they did not make it this year, but we got one. Oh yeah, dude. This Lee Denim is super super slept on. And there. I mean, I think I could make the case that Lee Denim, in some cases, um, you know, has some better is better than Levi's. I've been working on a script or on a story for a video about how Lee actually came out with the denim blouse or the denim jacket before Levi's did. Though not many people knew that. I'm actually working with a former employee to sort of Lee to tell that story, but we'll see if I can actually pull it off. I got to do some more research though, so we'll see. Yeah, that Storm Riders jackets are like super super iconic, super cool. We got a vintage Looney Tunes 2000 Six Flags Tweety Bird T-shirt. Nothing, not a great size though. Size small. If they were size large, different story. All right, come on. Come on, Nirvana tee. Come on, Home Alone tee. Those like the. Whoa, wait a minute. We got Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That's like recent, isn't it? The GameStop tee. Always gonna hold on though to video game T-shirts, no matter how old they are. Always seems to be a buyer for them somewhere. Yeah, Columbia is much higher quality than I think some people give them credit for. There's just so much high quality in the outdoor sports world. Oh, we got one. No, we don't. Ugh. Ugh. For a second, I thought we had one. It's got holes in everything. Looks faded, but guess what? Printed tag. So annoying. Gosh, that's annoying. I was excited after seeing that last Looney Tunes tee, thinking, oh, we got a dope banger Looney Tunes tee. It's just Walmart. Just Walmart. Who even? Okay, what do we have here? Nope. Yeah, someone bought a bunch of Walmart tees. So annoying. Come on. Come on, man. Yeah, Levi's. Let's see. Yeah, Levi's. I'm obviously I've been talking a little bit today about Wranglers, and of course Wrangler has some quality pieces, but Wrangler has only been around since 1947. So they're not quite. They don't have quite the history, but um, they have still some cool stuff. Like their denim jackets are pretty dope. Oh, nice, Kelsey. Yeah, the Storm Riders are sick, man. I love the Storm Riders. I think they fit the look, the feel, everything is dope. Especially the blanket line on them. All right, we have two more bags. Oh, this one's a little bit heavier than the other ones. So hopefully, let's redeem ourselves. We'll see if we make more than $60 once we go back through the review. Is this a Clay Aiken official fan club tee? Look at that, guys. Is this vintage yet? It might sell. Who knows? I'm gonna keep it. We have an older Nike tee, but it's been cut up, and it's got some serious holes. Older Nike tag, or maybe I think it's old. We'll hold on to it for now. Well, we probably won't. It's gonna probably end up trashing it anyway, so might as well do it now. Yeah, there's some. I mean, Wrangler is very cowboy, so, but I've been like, I've had a greater appreciation, especially with some of the stuff they did in the 70s. They did some pretty wild stuff, like with flared legs and stuff. There's some pretty wild stuff that I thought even like Levi's didn't really do. So they took some like pretty bold. They made some pretty bold garments. So at some point here, I'll probably when I do the videos, I'll showcase some of those. But yeah, Wrangler's got some good stuff too. We got a vintage SWAT T-shirt with the sleeves cut off on the Delta tag, late 90s. I don't know if that's even worth keeping, but lots of cutoff tees here. Unfortunately, that's annoying to me because it's gonna be one of these days I find a banger T-shirt graphic, and the sleeves are gonna be cut off. Oh, this is cool. It's not very old, but it's a nice Martin guitar company. Big fan of Martin. All right, what do we have here? Oh, come on now. Let's see. We got a Harley tee. Made in USA. Look at it, everybody. There we go. Made in USA. Single stitch. Great graphic. Harley Davidson Racing. That's a pretty sick t-shirt. On the Hanes Beefy, made in USA. So, yeah, we're looking at mid to late on this guy. Good find. Yes, good find. This is the best find so far. This Harley tee right here. This is the best one so far. Single stitch, Harley Racing. That's the best find. Hopefully we can find a few more. Let's see what else is going on here. What have I? Yeah, someone could rework it. I mean, I should just have a pile of clothes that said, hey, here's a bunch of stuff. If you want to buy it, you can rework it and make it your own. I actually, what's this? Nope, nothing. I actually worked with, there was a time period, for a little short period of time, I was looking at getting into like reworking stuff. I was going to work with this girl that was, interning over at, was she interning? What's that? There's a denim shop, like a denim company out of Nashville. It's not Edwin, is it? But anyway, we were gonna do some rework jeans and do like a little custom shop, but that didn't really go anywhere. It's pretty tough to build a market for that. Um, uh, in where we're at, so that didn't go anywhere. But it's a great idea if you can pull it off. If you have the skills. If you have the skills. All right. Come on. Let's go one more. Give me one more Harley tee. We got an NFL tee, not real worn down. We got the property of the Eagles. Yeah, the Harley tee is the best one so far. For what it's worth, and for reference, I pay $6 per bag. So that's like the only thing out of that bag. So I guess you could say I paid $6 for it. But we'll still see. We still got, a quarter of a bag left here. So maybe we'll find one or two more. And we still have one final bag back there. So nothing. This one's kind of packed in. Ooh, that's ratty. That's real ratty. 2012. Nope. Come on. Let's do it at the end here. Let's bring it in. I'm kind of sometimes surprised they don't put more like sweatshirts in these bags, but man, see this pile growing over here? It's getting. I'm just kind of curious how high we can actually make it. We got an Allure tee, just a blink. So I'll have to tell you guys. I'll probably will at some point here, if it turns out to be true. While I was, working all day on decoding Wrangler tags, I learned a couple things. Or I used a couple different interesting methods to potentially have determined a date code for Wrangler. I'm not sure. I have to test it more, so I have to go find more, pairs of jeans and test the hypothesis. But the way I got to the hypothesis will be really helpful. I'll probably put those two different methods on like a shorts, like one of the YouTube shorts I've been doing, just little quick tips that can be helpful. We'll have one tomorrow, I think. And so this will hopefully, will help you guys, which is just a quick tip to like quickly identify whether something is like on one side of a certain year or not. And then you can use a combination of those to sort of figure out, broadly speaking, for pretty much any garment that may have these markers on it. So should be fun. Had what time? Hard time. Yeah. Man, I tell you what, the bike week tees, I have some really cool Harley, like even official licensed Harley Daytona bike week tees, and they're just not moving. I mean, the Harley had its moment for vintage. The vintage community is not nearly as intense right now. It probably will come back at some point, but yeah, Harley is not as hot as it used to be. All right, last bag. I am glad we got that Harley tee. It's not a huge tee, but $30 probably safely. So that gets us halfway to paying these bags off, which is at this point the best I can do. If that's the best I can do, it's the best I can do, and we'll just have to keep buying them. Eventually, find some really great T-shirts like we have in the past. Whoo! All right, it's about to fall. See. Woo! There it goes. I probably should just like get like a bin to sort these and just throw them right in. But what do we got here? Nothing. I don't think there's anything. No. Notes. But like all the serious Harley stuff, like some of the rare pieces, and this goes for just about any rare piece. Oh, we've got a. Oh, that's annoying. This is an older Carhartt T-shirt, I believe, but the sleeves are cut off. Why? Why? But why? I think it was like a '90s Carhartt tag. I'm not super. I'm definitely not super up on all the Carhartt details. Um, this is like a Millennium Y2K T. We have here designed by Jinx. Some sort of kids tee. Blizzard Entertainment. Oh, this is like World of Warcraft or something. It's not that old, so not that interested. Cool tie dye. Always find cool tie dyes. This is Fuddruckers. Um, what was the best tee that I've pulled from a bag? Ooh, I think I still have it. The best tee, huh? This. Hold on, let me grab a couple of them just so you can see what I'm talking about. I still have a few that are the bigger banger tees. Just a minute. Here are some of the tees that we've pulled from these rag bags in the past. These were all from this year, I believe. So this one is probably our most recent one. Single stitch, mega print, Marilyn Monroe tee on the All Sport max weight. Super dope. Big graphic, big t-shirt. Super cool. Um, then earlier this year, I think it was earlier this year, we got the Shinobi PlayStation 2 tee, Sega on the front. So this one's pretty sick. This is like late '90s, obviously, or like very early 2000s. So super cool. This is not. This is in general. This is like the last year. Then we picked up this one not too long ago. This summer, I think it was. We got the Discover America Rugrats tee on the Delta Pro Weight XL. Super sick tee. So yeah, this is all. These are probably the ones um, from this year. I in the past, like I think it's a long time ago, maybe 2 years ago now. One of the earliest rag bag videos we ever did. I don't have any of them left, I don't think, but we pulled like an entire bag almost um, of WWF and early WWE wrestling tees. The Rock, Goldberg, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was like 10 or 11 tees, all probably in the 50 and up range. So that was really wild. And a month or two ago, we had a big rag bag from a different store, and it was like half full, maybe more than that, of old vintage like tennis tee Wimbledon, vintage Nike, the challenge court tees. So sometimes it's not so much like the individual bangers; it's just like the how many you can pull out of here. So um, I was thinking about it the other day because I was like, I go to the bins, but I have to travel like 3 hours to get to the bins, and it's like I was kind of trying to compare like sort of my perception of how many items of clothing, articles of clothing, do I have to look through at the bins versus how many do I have to look through of these bags to get the same like amount, like profit of same amount of stuff that I would deem cool, and it's pretty close. In fact, I think this would probably come up, a little bit ahead over time, not necessarily individually, but over time, and the price I'm paying, especially when we get a higher number of t-shirts, it's just cents, maybe even cheaper than the bins. So But this is as close as I can get to the bins without driving 3 hours to the nearest one. So um, this is how I do the bins, basically. All right, let's see. Yeah, Storage Guy's been here for a minute, so he knows. He knows he's the OG. Yeah, I have a question about my liquid blue tee. Copyright year is 93. It's on the shorter LB tag, but it's double stitched, and the size tag looks to be Fruit of the Loom. Is it valid or not? It's probably valid. So the smaller smaller liquid blue tags that are from like the late 90s, early 2000s, and into the 2000s. Oftentimes, what Liquid Blue did at that point is instead of having their own tags and printing their own T-shirts, or having their own T-shirts, they just went and got blanks from Fruit of the Loom, Delta, whoever, or Anvil. I think was the other one that did more often. They would pull out the front tag, put their tag on, leave the size tag on there, and then reprint one of the graphics. So my guess, that 1993 copyright is probably from a piece that was done in 1993, but reprinted in the 2000s, maybe even the late 90s. If you could tell which tag, which Fruit of the Loom tag, that might help you. If it was made in the USA or something like that, that would be helpful. But you're definitely looking at the late 90s at the earliest, and probably I think as late as like 2009, maybe at the latest, something like that. What are my favorite jeans to wear? I like Levi's. I like Levi's. I like the I like the 505s just fine. I like 501s too, but sometimes. We got a WWE tee, but nothing that it's a youth tee, and it's John Cena who's like China's lapdog. Yeah, so the vintage tees at the bins. First of all, 90% of the people that I encounter at the bins that are like doing resale and vintage stuff, they're all looking for tees. So the competition is like incredible. It's really high, really tough to be competing with. And but what they're not looking for, most of these people are not looking for vintage Levi's. They're not looking for old military clothing. They're not looking for some of these random stuff that a lot of the that I look for. That I know that I can find a buyer for, that I can collect, or is that something that's really interesting to me? So, are there denim rag bags? Ooh, gosh, I wish there were. Not in my town. Denim flies off the shelf out here. People love denim. They're always getting through, wearing through their clothes, always trying to buy more. So, have wrestling tees gone up in value this year? Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so. Well, I take that back. Probably some, but all the ones that are going to go up in value at this point, I think, are early 90s, late 80s type stuff. I haven't seen some of the partially because I think that you're actually seeing some like licensed reprints of some of these late 90s, early like WWF tees. So, just not as hot as a commodity as it once was. So, but to be honest, I don't know if it's going up or down. The last wrestling tee I sold, I think I got less than I was wanting for it. I think I got like, trying to remember what it was. I think what was the last one? I think it was a Goldberg tee, and I think I got $50 for it. And I was really thinking it should go for more than that. But when someone offered me 50, I was like, I just need, you can't be you can't be like too attached to your inventory, or you'll never make a living. So let's go through back. Let's do a little bit of a review. Let's see if we think we made $50. I'm not going to keep that. We'll show that one last. We've got a Martin guitar t-shirt. I'll probably list this because it's in pretty good condition. It's not really vintage or anything, but stuff like this, merchandise like this, typically does okay, $10. So The sable has not sold. I'm pretty just like I literally just said, I'm not. Don't be too attached to your inventory. I'm pretty attached to that T-shirt, so I kind of want a lot for it. Um, so I don't really want to touch it. I don't really want to. I've entertained some offers, but ultimately decided not to sell it because I kind of want like 300 or so. I think if the right person came along, especially if like a viewer or something, I'd probably let it go for 200. But that's about it. Do you know about K products? I found a few old railroader hats with K products. Um, so K products, they made a lot of hats. Obviously, as we just said. They were at primarily a hat company, as far as I know. They typically do. It typically indicates that they are vintage. Obviously, made in USA was most common. Though they think they did have some that were not. Um, I I've been trying to schedule with one of my friends who is like a really big hat head, knows a lot about vintage hats, to try to get a video about vintage hats and try to clarify some stuff. But generally speaking, I think if you have a K Products hat, you're looking at a vintage hat. Um, and if you've got some old railroad hats, do pretty well. So that's a good piece to have. All right, so we're looking at what we're kind of reviewing what we have here. Clay Aiken t-shirt. I'm saying $10 on that. We're trying to make up $60. That's how much I spent on it. So I think we're going to 10 for Aiken. I'm going to call this a 10 or maybe. Might take a while. This vintage Tweety Bird, probably not even 10, maybe 10. This might take forever to sell because it's small, so I'm not even going to count it. We've got this Atta Girl Power Tee, which I actually think will do fairly well. Size large. I'll call that 10 easy right there. Nope, not on that. This would probably be more. This vintage Protected Dolphins. If it were in better condition, I might wash it up, see if I can get it cleaned up a little bit. But I think this would go for $15 to $20. That would be my guess. Just because it's pretty cool. We got this pretty cool bootleg Nike. Not going to sell, so doesn't count for it. We've got this main tee. It's vintage, $5 maybe. We've got this. Nope, that's nothing. Blank. We've got this vintage. This is pretty cool. Vintage single stitch tie-dye heart tee. I think this is a good $10-15. This would be my expectation. We've got this Breckenridge skiing tee. Vintage single stitch, $10. We've got this other, not vintage, but pretty cool tie-dye tee. Probably not gonna find a buyer for that. Who knows? You never do know. We got this pretty old paint T-shirt, tourist tee, $5. We got a blank tee that we're not gonna keep. Another tourist tee, wildflowers. Someone's painting tees, cool graphic, but $5. Billie Eilish tee, I don't know, $10, maybe more. Well, this one's pretty cool. Undo the Racism. Unfortunately, it's pretty dirty, but we'll try to clean it out. This is a great shirt. Bring on the Wellness. It's some sort of like walk to end racism. March for Peace is what it was. April 25th, 1998. So this is pretty cool. This is a cool tee. I think this would go for $25 if I can clean it up. 25 or more. No. This is a kind of cool tee. We found Meet Me in Tahiti, Sweepstakes, Tropicana, the Island of Vegas, vintage single stitch. If it cleans up a bit better, probably $15 to $20. Other than that, then we have finally our best find of the night was this Harley Davidson racing tee, single stitch, probably from the mid 90s right here. RK Stratman, pretty cool both sides, gray, feels good. It's in pretty good condition. There aren't any holes, or at least none that I can tell. So that's a good tee. I'd imagine 30 to 35 for this tee. So that's pretty good haul. So all in all, we made our money back. Maybe $100 total in sales. Obviously, there's a little bit of profit. That's okay because you can't win them all. Might get over. It just depends on how desperate I am to move inventory. I might rack all these together and sell them as a lot to somebody, but Pretty cool tees nonetheless. So let me check the. Yeah, American Needle. I know hats, man. I gotta. I've been trying to schedule to get like a session to really dig down into some of the history and get some details to actually make the video. I need to figure that one out for sure. What is more my most valuable T-shirt, sold or personal collection? My most valuable tee I've ever sold. Um, so I sold like a month before the pandemic began, in like early February, mid February. I picked up three all over print Marvel tees. One Punisher tee. Was it two Punisher tees? I think it was two Punisher tees actually. Two Punisher tees and a Venom all over print. The Venom itself sold for 600. Though I did eventually get an offer for 1700 and I didn't take it. I was super dumb. I was not really aware of how like intense the Marvel market had become. And so I sold that one for 600. So that's probably my most valuable t-shirt sale, even though I technically could have sold it for 1700 if I hadn't already agreed to 600 with somebody. And I sold the other ones for like 350 a piece. So um, no pineapple on pizza. My wife would disagree, but no pineapple on pizza. The most expensive in my personal collection right now, because my personal changes all the time. Like I get new tees, sell other tees, get new tees, wear that tee, sell it. I mean, I go round and round. So my like I've actually worn all three of these at some point. Um, these are all. This one's probably. I think this is a $200 tee in my opinion. These are $100 tees probably. Um, when it comes down to it. So probably right now, my most expensive tee is like a $200, maybe that Rugrats tee. The Sable tee that I have, I think is like a $250, $300 tee. Though I don't really wear that one. It's not. I'm not huge into to not huge into wrestling. So, but that's probably my most expensive T-shirt that's in hand right now. So. All right, guys. Well, it's been almost an hour and a half. I want to thank you guys for being here. We will be back here again next Monday. Hopefully, maybe we'll have 10 more bags. Who knows? So come with your questions. Come hang out. We'll be digging into T-shirts, hopefully finding some more vintage grails and enjoying all of the mystery that we can uncover. Otherwise, we'll see you guys later. Thank you for being here. Peace.